criminal justice system, acts of insurrection are considered acts of treason against the emperor. In the city of Jerusalem, the dedicated detectives who investigate these defiant felons are members of the elite squad known as the Special Riot Unit. Join them as they question the members of the Jesus Gang.
The chief's given me some pressure to get this case solved.
I know. We're running out of witnesses.
Who do we have left?
Well, we do have somebody left that might work out. He's a young guy. His name is John, and he's supposed to be part of the inner circle. I think maybe we can sweat him, though.
Bring him in. Let's give him a try. Look, son, we don't want to see any harm come to you. We're just looking for the truth. Just the truth. You understand?
The truth? Sure, I understand.
Now, we can see how a young man might be overly influenced by this charming rabbi, this silver-tongued deceiver. We can appreciate how you might fall under his mesmerizing power, with no fault of your own. So just give us some information, and you can go.
What information? What do you want to know?
Well, first of all, how long have you been a follower of this Jesus?
Who says I'm a follower? I haven't done anything wrong.
What's your name, son, and where are you from?
My name is John, the son of Zebedee, from Capernaum.
And what do you do there?
I'm a fisherman, along with my brother and dad.
What are you doing in Jerusalem?
I'm a pilgrim here for the Passover.
I see. So you're here with family, then?
Well, not the whole family, just my brother James and Hey, what does this have to do with anything?
Were you about to say Jesus? Are you his follower?
I've heard of him. I've heard him preach. That doesn't make me a follower.
Well, not necessarily, but it does mean you know him. You know his friends and his associates.
I want my lawyer. I'm not talking anymore.
Fine. Who's your lawyer? Who'll speak up for you? Who's your advocate?
My lawyer is...
Somebody who's already been arrested?
He won't be for long. He's been in a tougher situation than this and escaped.
Escaped? Do you know something? What are you guys planning?
Hey. Let's calm down. All we want is the truth. Let's assume you're not a member of this gang. Maybe you are just an acquaintance. If you're concerned for his welfare, you don't want his words misconstrued or quoted out of context, right?
I suppose not.
Didn't this acquaintance of yours claim to be king?
I've heard him say, my kingdom is not of this world.
You mean a king, like Caesar?
No, he meant a different kind of kingdom, a spiritual kingdom.
You mean it's about religion?
All he ever talked about was the kingdom of God.
Didn't he claim, I am the way, follow me?
He said, I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes through the Father except for me.
So he's leading people to God.
Yes, that's his whole message.
Yet, he has been heard telling the crowds, destroy the temple and I will rebuild it in 3 days. That sounds like rebellion to me.
He was referring to his body, that if he should be killed, he would rise in 3 days.
So you think this Jesus will rise from the dead? Isn't it more likely his disciples plan to steal his body and hide it? Just like they are all hiding now?
If they were hiding, they're hiding because the Jewish leaders want to arrest them. What would you do?
Make a note to warn Pilate to post a guard around the burial site after execution.
Am I allowed to see him?
No one gets near him. Who knows what you might be planning?
Please, his mother is in town. You've got to let me take her to see him.
The best we can do is to allow you and family members to witness the execution. Take his mother to Golgotha tomorrow morning.
Then we'll see if your friend can rise from the dead.
We're finished here. You can leave, but stay in town. If we're going to quell this insurrection, we need to capture all the ringleaders. I want you to keep up with the house-to-house searches. post extra lookouts at the execution. Maybe John and this rebel's mother will lure others out into the open.
It won't be easy flushing them out. Our best chance is at the execution. Followers are always zealous. If they really believe in this Jesus, they will reveal themselves.
You're right. True believers stand up for what they believe. Their behavior will give them away.
Do you really think they'll put their life on the line for this man?
We shall see.
John. What do we know about John? Not a lot. Oh, we do know that he was a fisherman. His brother was James. One of the things that we know is that James and John, they were on that inner circle of Jesus. You know, with Peter, who went up on the mountain, and they were visibly able to see Jesus transfigured. Yeah, James and John. It seemed like they were people who wanted to have power. They were ones that said and argued who was going to be the greatest. Who would be the one that gets to sit on the right hand of Jesus when he gets into his kingdom? John. Do you realize that John probably was just a teenager when he left the boat? I would have thought he would have been at least an adult. But he was just probably a teenager like many of you here. Left with his brother to follow Jesus. And there they kept following. John lived longer than any of the disciples. He was the one that would write the book of Revelations, a couple of the letters. Yes, he probably was a teenager. And that we heard, they said, he probably was influenced so easily to follow Jesus, you know. I'm wondering, who do you guys follow? Who's in charge of your life? Who's the authority that you look up to? Or do you not look up to authority? I would imagine that many of you, if you were like me, as teenagers, you kind of rebel against the authority. You know, perhaps when you're in the classroom, when you're supposed to be acting with respect, showing honor to the person who's in authority. Do you act that way all the time? No, neither did I. A lot of us have problems with authority. A lot of us want to do things our way. We think our way is the better way, isn't it? You know, we want it what we believe is best for us. And so when somebody like your parents would suggest to do something different, oh, what do they know? You know, they're just old. That's what I thought. You know, parents really don't know much, although they have a lot of wisdom. Authority. You know, who's in charge? Who kind of guides your life? It's so easy. It's so easy to follow somebody else. It's so easy, I know, in school. I'm sure it is with you. It was with me. To kind of follow that popular group, or at least the group that you seem to belong to. But maybe they always didn't go in the right direction. Yep. Who's in charge? What do we know is that John, that teenager who left his boat, followed Jesus, the one that was having problems really acknowledging that Jesus was truly one of his, he was a follower of Jesus. What we do know is he wrote in many of his books that Jesus was truly the authority of all life, the one that is King of all kings, and that he lived out his life serving and sharing the good news. I wonder, how about us? How do we demonstrate our love, our respect for Christ? Do we live with the compassion and the caring? Do we live with the love and the forgiveness that Jesus showed his disciples? Are we willing to stand up for Christ? That means, are you willing to live your life every day as Christ would have you? Are you willing to walk your faith every day? Will you show it to others? What we are called to do as Christians, those who are loyal and committed to Christ, is to simply love, respect, and honor God. To simply seek to live as God desires. And when we do, even though we think it would be better to do it our way, what we will find is when we do it what Christ has asked us to do, we will find that life will be so much better, not just for you, but for all people. Will your life reflect? Will you show others? Will you stand up for Christ?